We want to return to the breaking news we are following. Robert Mueller has passed away, the former FBI director and special counsel who investigated Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. Apparently, he passed away last night, according to two people familiar with the matter. Mueller was a lawyer and served as the sixth director of the FBI from 2001 to 2013. He was 81 years old. I do want to bring in our contributor, Rob D'Amico, MS Now national security and intelligence analyst and former FBI supervisor. Rob, you worked under Robert Mueller and met with him a few times. What was he like?
He's very serious. And when you look at it, when you come into the office to take over from actually a very popular director in Louis Freeh, and it's September 4th, 2001, and a week later, 9/11 happens. You can only imagine, you're just getting your feet on the ground and 9/11 happens. And it was an event that changed the Bureau, and it changed under, Director Mueller. But he was serious because at that time, you look at the 12 years, and he's the second longest serving director besides, Hoover. He extended 2 years after his tenure time. Those were serious years. And there was, he had 5 deputy directors under him that he served throughout. But it was a time that he had to change the Bureau. And when you look at it, you think it's easy after 9/11 that you want to go from just prosecuting cases, because that's what the Bureau did. Someone commits a crime, we investigate it, we prosecute it, to his thing was we have to prevent the next 9/11. In order to do that, he got a lot of pushback from older agents. I remember, I was on the FBI's hostage rescue team during 9/11. And he started talking about this, and I heard senior agents say, it's just a fad, it'll go away, we'll go back to doing what we normally do. And I really couldn't believe it. And I was in the Bureau under 10 years at that time saying, what do you mean? This is a historical change. And he met with a lot of, changing the FBI as a huge bureaucracy is tough. So he met with some things that got him really frustrated. But him coming from, as a U.S. attorney, assistant U.S. attorney, he was acting deputy U.S. attorney general. He was serious. He knew how to do cases, so he knew what it took for the Bureau to get there. And then you look at his service. Being a former Marine myself, that was very evident to me that he was in the Marine Corps. He served during Vietnam, won a Bronze Star with a V, Purple Heart, 68 through 71, tough years to be a platoon commander in Vietnam. And he carried that with him. He was very serious. It was everything you thought, though, when you think of FBI, you think of dark suit, white shirt, and tie. And that's always where he was. I met him several times overseas serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. He would come over to visit. And he grabbed me a couple times and talked. And I, would say Semper Fi. So he knew, I was coming from the same background as him. And he would ask me questions, really in-depth questions, what I was seeing over there. And a couple times we were embedded with special forces doing some things that you never thought the Bureau would be doing. But it was under his vision of, we have to go forward. We have to get the terrorists overseas. We have to work with the CIA and the military so that we prevent it before it comes to the U.S., which was really something he brought in.
Such incredible perspective that you bring to this situation. Rob, we heard very little from Robert Mueller during the Russia interference investigation and beyond that. And he was known for letting his work do the talking. But he was also probably one of the most recognizable FBI directors that we've had so far. How do you believe his legacy will carry through the institution? And what's the contrast in what we're seeing at the FBI today?
Unfortunately, because of the time he was in, the FBI got more political. And I talk about this. I've talked about it on the show a couple of times. Under Robert Mueller, before him, cases were really run from field divisions. SACs and assistant directors in charge really dictated what cases they took and how they proceeded. Because of 9/11 and the findings of the 9/11 Commission and some of the faults that were in there between the intelligence and criminal divisions, he really had to take more control, he felt, from headquarters. Unfortunately, when you have something run from Washington, D.C., the air of Washington, D.C. is politics. Every little bit seeps into the building. And because of, I think, media and social media and how just the country has developed, politics got more brought into it. He wasn't a political guy. He really was staying out of it. So I hope they take the legacy from 9/11 all the way to the end as a whole and not just specifics if you're trying to pick out things.
Yeah, a Time magazine article from 2018 quotes former FBI Assistant Director Tom Fuentes as saying about Mueller, if indicting his own mother was the right thing to do, he would do it. You know, he took a lot of heat for that investigation into Russian interference, but he still persisted. Is that consistent with the man that you served under and with the person that you know him to be?
Absolutely. Moral character. Tom Fuentes is a friend of mine. And he's right. If it wasn't popular, even to himself, and it was the right thing to do, he absolutely would have done it. I would never guess anything besides the highest moral integrity and courage and commitment. And if it was something that he thought was right, he would do it no matter what. And I think that's the same thing. If he didn't think those investigations had merit, he absolutely wouldn't have pursued them.
All right. Rob D'Amico, thank you so much for shedding some light on Robert Mueller's legacy. Appreciate you.